When Galp Energia discovered billions of barrels of oil in Namibia's Mopane field, the find brought with it massive potential for economic growth, both for the country but also for the company. But it also attracted the attention of the global energy industry. Now, the southern African country is estimated to be the source of 2.2 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and more than 11 billion barrels of light oil across the three basins. Portuguese oil company Galp Energia estimates that at least 10 billion barrels of oil in the Mopane field, located in the Orange Basin. Galp holds an 80% stake in petroleum exploration in the region, covering nearly 10,000 square kilometers. The discovery is poised to provide new revenue for Galp. The company may attract other investors to its Namibian projects, potentially reaching a large scale, generating billions of dollars. The Mopane field discovery could kickstart Namibia's oil industry, attracting interest from big oil companies and organizations like OPEC+, who are eyeing Namibia for possible membership, as it is set to become Africa's fourth largest oil producer by the next decade. Now, let's get to Aberdeen in the United Kingdom and speak to Theo Ache-Pong, who is an economist and political risk analyst. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Good morning.
Right, so some estimates talk about foreign companies taking $8 out of every $10 earned from the oil sale. Then how will a country such as Namibia find a way to prevent the Western energy giants from taking the lion's share of the wealth?
Yeah, so I've seen some of those estimates, but they are largely incorrect in the sense that Namibia is a high risk and frontier basin. Hitherto, a number of companies had not been there. Number two, if you actually look at the actual fiscal terms, which falls under the concession agreement, you've got about 5% royalty, and then you also have a 35% petroleum income tax, and then you also have a windfall tax, component, which is based on the returns that the companies, do make. So when you work out all of the numbers across the full life cycle, including the additional cost recovery element, is actually going to be more than the 20% that people are bandying about, and it's not going to be that figure at all. The 20% reflects more of what the government's entitlement is going to be in terms of the liftings, but the actual fiscal regime and the operation of it needs to take into account additional cost recovery element, including the petroleum income tax, which is about 35%.
Right. Meanwhile, Namibia has been accused of corruption, with some officials taking bribes on other deals as well. How do you think this corruption will affect this oil discovery within the oil industry in the country?
Yeah, we have seen issues with the fishing sector, and there were some scandals a few years ago. But again, it goes to highlight the need for governance reforms, changes to the regulatory regime and the system to ensure and minimize, the prospect of corruption happening in the country. What we don't want to see is Namibia also becoming another case of the resource curse, where countries that have discovered these huge natural resources end up actually under-delivering on governance, on an economic growth, and on prosperity. And already there are some proposals and some reform efforts underway to try and improve the licensing processes, improve the contracting processes, improve the fiscal regime, and to ensure that the prospect of corruption is minimized.
Right, that's very interesting. It is estimated that Namibia's oil will take a while before hitting the market. What's the structural reason behind that? Can you help us understand?
Yes, it will take at least, you're looking at the early 2030s, late 2020s for the oil to come to the market. We're looking prospectively on the current discoveries. They could be doing about 500,000 barrels of oil a day in the few years. Reason really being that it takes a lot of time and effort to put in place the infrastructure that is needed to bring the oil to the market. But particularly for Namibia, the oil is also located in ultra deep water terrain. So you have to go further down to the bottom of the ocean before you're able to bring that oil out. And that takes a bit of time and all the complex engineering processes that are associated with that.
Right, so very quickly, and I wonder, what kind of oil are we talking about in Namibia? Is it the kind of oil that is easy to extract, like, for instance, the oil that is found in the Gulf region, or less easy to extract, like Canadian oil sands I'm thinking about?
Absolutely. So it actually sits in the middle from some of the estimates that we've seen. It's not as light as you would get in the Middle East and the Gulf, but it's also nowhere near the heavy oil sands that you've got in Canada or in Venezuela and others. I think it's going to get a premium price if you look at a number of the oils that are extracted within that corridor of Africa, from Angola all the way to Cameroon. You are likely to find the assay of that oil within that ballpark. So it will still get a fairly good price on the world market.
Interesting, and that is good news for Namibia. Theo Atwapong, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.